because the protest movement is actually quite wide now on the Liverpool plains. Pilliga Forest, where Santos are mining coal seam gas, is a real hotspot. They plan to have 850 wells in the forest, and they're currently building a water treatment plant at Leewood, which is about 25 kilometres from Narrabri. Where the importance of this is for this area is that the coal seam gas is not going to stay in the Pilliga. Santos have got a lease that covers from the Queensland border down near Sydney, 500 kilometres long and 150 kilometres wide. That takes in all of this area that has coal underneath it, and they have some places that they call sweet spots. And there's quite a few of them around Canada. I looked at their investors map, and since it didn't have town names on it, I was having difficulty pinpointing exactly where their sweet spots are. But around Breeza and around Malali are two of them. So for the farmers here, I would just like to say tomorrow is Farmers' Day at Leewood, where they want to have as many farmers as possible on the road outside the Leewood facility to protest and let Santos know that farmers do not want coal seam gas on the land. Along with that, I'd also like to say Maria from Pilliga Pottery is going to have the coffee van there offering free cappuccinos to all those who protest. A little sweetener.
I'm there, I'm going. All the musos are in. Free coffee.
With the coal seam gas, when the 850 wells are in, they're going to have about 1 million litres of produced water a day to go through the reverse osmosis plant and dispose of. And the leftover salt, they actually don't know what they're going to do with it yet. The last I heard was they had actually found a solution, but they're not telling us. So they're keeping it secret until they're ready to release their information. I guess that means they don't have any idea what they're doing.
Yep.
With the wells, within 6 years, within a few years, about 6% of the wells will leak. Within about 30 years, it's up to about 50% of the wells will leak. And after 50 years, it's anticipated that virtually all, 90% or better of the wells will leak. And by that time, there will be no one left to maintain them. So, what's that going to do to the land? So, can I just say, everyone here, get to Leewood, stop it at Leewood, stop it in the Pilliga, because we don't want to fight it on the plains. I'd also like to give a mention to Laird Forest. The clearing will start in Laird Forest again on the 13th of February. On the 13th of February, there's going to be a big get-together at Wando, which is close to Laird Forest. For anyone that's interested, give me a call or look it up on Facebook. We're forming an organisation. I'll read it to make sure I give you the right name. The Wando Cultural and Conservation Centre. We're going to have a committee and forming another group to protect the forest there and the surrounding farmlands. Cliff Wallace in particular out that way is an irrigation farmer, and he's very, very concerned about the future of the water when Moles Creek mines start drawing the full amount of water that they're going to take for their coal washing, etc. So farming at that end of the plains is going to be compromised also. So anyone that's got the 13th of February free, get out there and join in that protest. There's plenty to do around the place.
That's the same weekend at Gloucester.
Now, the other thing I thought I would mention is just basically what's going to happen with coal. What future is there? I think very little. I've travelled in both India and China, and both have severe air pollution problems. Both countries have got some very intelligent leaders that don't want to go down the coal or coal seam gas way. They're going to head straight for solar and wind. It will be much more economically sound in India to put in a small solar array and run a village from that than it will be to put in poles and wires and great big coal-fired power stations while climate change is such a great issue and while in many cities they can't breathe the air at this time. So both of these countries that are the target market for our government are turning away from coal. So what I think is, with coal in particular, if we can hold them off for a few more years, we can save the land. I guess the next thing is, how do we hold them off? What do we do? I made a little list because I'll forget some things otherwise. Protest. Don't sit quietly. We need people protesting in the rural areas, and we need people sitting outside the offices of these mining companies and coal seam gas companies in the city. This is starting to happen. There's been a crowd outside Santos's office in both Sydney and Brisbane in recent times. And many years ago, a group of us from up this way went down and sat outside Santos's office and made nuisances of ourselves. So we set the precedence, and there's other following us. For the other women who are here, there's some here that were with me on the day. The Environmental Defender's Office, they are one of our most important allies. If you're a person that doesn't feel you can do anything else because of your employment or because of your family situation or your fitness, you can donate money to the EDO. That's the only way we can keep them going. They are running so many cases at this time, which is slowing down mining and coal seam gas mining companies. They're running one on Leewood because they didn't put in an EIS for the reverse osmosis plant. They claim that it's part of their exploration. They're running one on Shenhua for the koalas, and they're running cases everywhere. It costs a lot of money, so if you're able to help the EDO, if that's the one thing you can do, do that. Another excellent protest is the Knitting Nanas, of which I am one. Yay! If you don't have a Knitting Nanas group in your area, talk to me or one of the other nanas and we'll tell you how to start one up. All you need is a set of knitting needles and a chair. And a ball of wool. It is the most peaceful protest you will ever participate in, and people love you. So you know, it's a great way to go. And the blokes join us too. You know, we've got one fellow who always joins us in Armadale, and he's our male support person. Of course, the Liverpool Plains Youth, the things they're organising here to keep organising festivals and music and different activities like this to inform people and to bring people together is so important, and I would really like to congratulate the Liverpool Plains Youth. And also the other groups, the Pilliga Push, there's Dan and Crystal out there and the crowd out at Pilliga. They're doing a fantastic job. They have had someone locked on every day for 5 weeks now. They haven't missed a day. This has got a lot of publicity. It's letting Australia know what is happening in the Pilliga, because otherwise how would you ever get the message out? And it's really letting Santos know that we don't agree with them, that we don't want them. So that's some of the options. Remember to write letters, remember to phone and harass your politicians, and remember when you vote, if you vote the same, you'll get the same. Look carefully at what candidates are offering before you tick the box. And with that, thank you very much for listening, and everyone get active.